Good morning, everybody. It was telling me I was on at the wrong time. I'm pretty sure it's the right time, 11:30, and you're here, so it must be the right time. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Let's see who's on. Heather, good morning. Hope things are good over there. Linda B, good morning. Good to see you. Karen, good to see you. Just filled the bird feeders. That is so nice. You got to take care of those little guys, right? It's the hard time of year for them. Crystal, good morning. It's early afternoon. Pretend it's morning. You have a few more hours that way. Martha, good morning. Good to see you. Sunny again in Ontario, but cold. You know, it's funny. We are getting exactly the same thing. It is real cold again, but it's sunny and bright. So you get part of what you need to keep going, right? It is so nice to have this longer day. I'm having a super struggle this morning. I've still got my coffee in my hand because, for whatever reason, I went to bed at 12 on the button, turned the light off, which is pretty typical. I had Joss with me last night, and my body just woke up at 3 for, I would say for no good reason, but the reason is that Joss sleeps diagonally and like kicks me in the C-section all night. So that's probably the reason. But I woke up at 3, and it was, when your body says to you, like, it's time, let's go, let's get up and go. And you know what? If it's like 5, I think close enough. It's close enough. It's almost morning. But when it's 3, I'm thinking, oh God. And I was awake for like 3 hours. And you know those times when you're awake in the middle of the night having the big thoughts that you don't really think about during the day. Oh, I hope I don't get cancer. I hope the kids never get in an accident. All this kind of stuff. Um, Awful. So I am beyond tired. I am so tired that I've been feeling sick to my stomach all day. Do you know that feeling too when you're so tired, you're shaky and sweaty, and you just feel ill. But I'll probably catch up on sleep tonight, and I really have got to because I've got a crack of dawn dentist appointment tomorrow to get a crown done, another crown. And I love my dentist, Dr. Pearl, which is the perfect name for a dentist, isn't it? And he never hurts. He always does great. But I just have this bad feeling about this time for some reason. Probably, Mom, because of your last dentist experience. That I mean, it sounded like one of these like Bruegel paintings. Hopefully it's not that. We'll see how it goes. But I will be on for cocktail night regardless, even if I have like a cartoon character with cotton in my mouth. We'll see how it goes. Mom, good morning. A little slippery. Yeah. Yeah, you were out feeding the birds too. The birds, and she's got 2 black squirrels over at hers. We have gone years without seeing the black squirrels, and finally they're back, which is really nice because they look like little tiny cats. They're so cute. They're supposed to be more aggressive than the other squirrels, but because they're like can't even speak. I'm that tired. Tiny little frames, tiny little size. They're a lot smaller than the regular gray squirrels, and I think they get a bit intimidated. The other ones go shooting up the tree, chasing the little black ones up the trees, and then they're up there flickering their tails. It's so cute. They are the cutest little things. I remember in the Carolina, when I used to tour the Carolinas, we occasionally would see white squirrels, which again look like weird little cats. We don't have those in New England at all. I mean, I've never seen one, and it's nice to see the black ones because the numbers are. It's like something like less than 1%. Jess and I looked it up. Are black squirrels. I guess it's a hereditary color. Anyway, Donna, good morning. Good to see you. Sheila, good morning. We had a fun Zoom yesterday. It was great. We had lots of people on. It was super fun. Great talk, some good laughs. Julie, sunny Minnesota. Oh, I'm glad. It's going to be unseasonably warm today in the 40s. That is great. On the upswing, right? Doesn't it feel like it when you get those nice days? Janice, good morning. Good to see you. Happy Thursday. Chrissy, good morning. I keep meaning to say, don't think that I forgot about your coffee mat. I'm just waiting for my linen to come, and it should come today. Um, because it's a little bit late, but I have not forgotten you, of course, and I've not forgotten about the other thing you asked me for. I'm going to shoot that out with the same thing. So, good to see you, Chrissy. Martha, Zoom was really fun yesterday. I love logging on. I always think I'm not going to have stuff to work on. I'm going to be stressed because I fall behind, but it is actually like so relaxing and positive to sit and chat that it always works out that when I come off the Zoom call, I feel a lot better than when I started, no matter how busy I am. So that's a good feeling. That's friendship, right? Catherine, you're back in Idaho. You've been on the move, huh? Oh, I'm glad to see you back on. And we missed you yesterday, but we'll see you next time. And Tara, good morning in cold Oakville, Ontario. Oh, okay, great. Tara, welcome. Great to see you. April, happy Thursday. April was on yesterday. It was real fun. Janice, very nice, sunny in northern Minnesota. I love how we're all in different places. I already have that thing, and I know you do too. You're just dying to travel. It's like a severe travel drought this last year. And every time I see a state pull up, like Minnesota, Kansas, some of these states I haven't been to, even on my touring days, it makes me just really want to go. Just really want to go. Janice, Dave, good morning, everyone. Sunny day today. Feeling good. Great. It was great to see you on the call yesterday, too. I am so glad. Lisa, good morning. Oh, good. You got your Tamara Pavich books yesterday. I love them. So informational. They really are. That's where we're headed today with today's episode. I just, so many books that I'm looking at while I'm looking at them. It's just my favorite book ever. These books both fit into that category. I just feel that she has such good ideas. And again, I like the way she presents them. You know, she doesn't shove information or thoughts or instruction down your throat. She's very, oh, or you could do this. This has worked for me in the past. It might. I like her approach. You know, like Judy Taylor. I like that kind of approach. It's a vibe that you get. You know, reading and writing and probably everybody's very, very nice, but sometimes someone comes off as a bit more accessible than the next person. And in terms of an inspirational book as opposed to like a technical book, Tamara's books for me are like the best. I really love them. My friends say 3 a.m. is a message from beyond waking. Maybe it was a message from beyond. You know, I wish I was had a dream about my dad the other day, who's been gone for a long time. We were at a hotel, and it was one of these great dreams. I know you've had this dream too, because everybody does, where you didn't know it was your hotel. Like we had a hotel and we didn't know it. And you know, it's probably because I've been thinking long-term plan. I would love to be able to have a B&B where I could have a store and also have rooms where people could come and we could just fool around day and night and have themed out weekends and just have fun all year round. Probably what brought it on, but it was one of these dreams where we found out we had like a motel, not like a shining motel, but like a cute one, you know. And every time you opened a door, there was like 100 more doors beyond it. That great, great, great dream. Ignore my speaker over there. But oh, I might have to shut her down. Crystal. Oh, I know. Proper vacation time for sure. Cindy, good to see you. It was a fun call yesterday. And yesterday on the call, Wendy showed us. I'm sorry, I got to shut this idiot off. She's telling me I have a call or I have a car, one or the other. Can't tell. Wendy showed us in the call yesterday. She was outside at her farm, and she first brought us to this one sheep who had just had a little babe. And she said she was worried about her because she was having such a struggle. And she finally had the one little babe, and they were sitting nestled together in a bright patch of sun. And she looked so cute. And then Wendy said, "Oh, hold on, I have another surprise." She walked us across the field to the other side of the farm, and another sheep that morning had had three babes, and they were all sitting together. So everybody was happy and healthy. It was just such a pretty, pretty picture to look at. Even on Zoom, it was so, so nice. A sure sign that spring is coming. Oh, see, everybody's having this weird sleeping thing. I think our bodies know it's almost time for daylight savings, too. Doreen, good morning. Great to see you. And Anita, good to see you. Sun is shining so nice. Small world note. Okay, Tamara Pavich lives in the same town as your daughter and youngest grandchildren. Council Bluffs is just across the river from Omaha. Oh, how nice is that? Yeah, Jennifer wrote the other day, and she goes to the Guild in Kansas City, which I guess is right there too, because Tamara goes there too. Very nice. Donna and Lori, hello in Texas. I know. You got to think about work too. Life is full of obligations and practicalities besides the fun that we have. Cynthia, good morning. All right, let's see. Karen, you have white squirrels and stop it. You have white squirrels in Stratton and Shelton? Holy mackerel, I'm going to have to take a joyride. That's real close to me. I have not seen that in Connecticut. How nice. Jill, good morning. Good to see you. And Pamela, good morning in Paris, Ontario. Amber, good morning. I'm going to get you that tracking number if you haven't found it. It's going to be somewhere on pirate ship. Donna, you're on your phone still trying to get you on the TV. Oh man, yeah, the stories of technical frustrations, right? I just was trying to take pictures of the finished piece of the bird, and for some reason my phone that I take pictures on, the camera was just gone. Like the icon of the camera was just gone. It's always on my homepage where I can find it. It was just not there. Like just not there. Super irritating, especially when you're tired. Linda H. Linda H., good morning in Mass. How are you? And Ann just came on. Ann was on yesterday too. Oh, Ann, sunny Calgary. Good to see you. Before I forget, this is Anne. This is the new pincushion doll. So if you're looking for a pincushion doll on Ribbon Candy Hooking, there's a new one there because of Anne. Anne sent me a picture of her beautiful pincushion doll with her balloons because I think I mentioned she's a doll collector, and this is one that she had and she loved. So I did this one for Anne, and now this is the third choice, and this one of course had to be called Anne for obvious reasons. Oh, and you know what else? Before I get going, let me show you a couple of things. Well, I finished Shiny Things, the March project. So this will be on this site in a couple of minutes, right after coffee time. I finished all my bits and pieces. I really love this piece. I don't think the colors show real well on this video, but I really love this piece. You can see I got there with the eye, and Brenda, I know you're watching or you're watching later, so I'm going to show you. Brenda sent an email and said, let me know what eyes you end up with from the craft store. Strange conversation, right? Because she's also struggling with a bird design she's got going with an eye. Now, I didn't really want to do a faceted eye. I wanted to give him a kind of a dome eye. So I'll show you the beads I ended up with. And then I put that iridescent ribbon into his beak. You can see I worked in some of my candy wrappers and a few of the charms I have. I didn't put all my charms. You're going to get all of these charms in your pack. And then some others. You're going to get some antique buttons and stuff. I didn't put them all in. I'm not a big one for embellishments, but in this context, it made sense to me, and I really like this. I really like the bird swooping down. And if you want it in another color, just let me know. You know I never charge to do different colors. I have lots of wool, that's for sure. So Shiny Things, I'll remind you about that, but I should have the link up a little bit later. Oh, there's Wendy. It was Wendy who showed us the sheep yesterday. I really like the colors on this. These are my favorite colors of anything I've done so far. But if you want different colors, I'm always happy to do different colors. It makes no difference to me, and I'm never insulted by anything. Well, sometimes I'm insulted, but usually like traffic situations and things like that. So this is ready. It's going to be coming. I'm going to put it on linen. I'm waiting for my bolts of linen to come from Searsport. So that should be coming soon. Thank you so much. There's the link to the thing. Thank you so much. That's great. So I'm very happy to have that done. Thanks, Mom. The trinkets are fun. It's just fun to do embellishments. And again, context for me, just to have random embellishments on something sometimes strikes me as a bit kitschy for me. But in this context of the bird's nest, it makes sense and it tells a story. So I really liked that. And you know what else, before we get too late, oh, Sheila, good morning. Oh, nice. Yeah, Sheila was on the call and Wendy was on the call when we were looking at the little sheep yesterday, the ewes. So yesterday morning, I'm still getting a lot of orders for the tomato pincushion, the January kit. So I got back in the kitchen just for an hour yesterday and I dyed a bunch of these colors. And you know, this is just my recent dyeing history, just to remember what I'm doing. But when I put this down, I said, you know what? I really like these colors. I really like these colors. And so Jessica, my sister, took Jocelyn, my daughter, out riding yesterday. She's better at it because, you know, I feel the same way that Colleen does about the horses, like just getting near them and they're all with their giant piano key teeth. Scares me. And Jessica's a great writer, so she was out with Joss and she came back and we sat in the kitchen for a while and I showed her this. She works at Yale. She's an artist and an art restorer. She's going to be working with us soon. We're going to be doing some channels and videos together with you all on dyeing and pigments and things like that. So that'll be really fun because she's a super authority on making colors. But we were looking at those and we came up with, this is going to be coming out in the next 24 hours, the next yarn set, which will be called, I have not forgot about the modern art set. That's coming out too as an extra. This is going to be another 16-piece yarn set, just like Winter Carnival was, and it's going to be called Weekend in Maine. I wanted one more kind of wintry weekend getaway before I go to next month, because I already have the theme of next month. But this is going to be called Weekend in Maine. And we can, thanks, Crystal. These are kind of your colors, right? We came up with some great names like Lighthouse White, Cobblestone, Clam Chowder, Pet Cemetery for the green, because you know Stephen King is from Maine, Bangor, Maine. The yucky green is called Pet Cemetery, but it's spelled different, so you know. Blueberry Beer, Low Tide, Casco Bay, Breakfast in Bar Harbor is like a coffee color, Shrimp Cocktail, Lobster Bisque, Early Bird Lobster is going to be speckled, you know, with the colors breaking on it. Murder, She Wrote, because you know that's Cabot's Cove is supposed to be in Maine, so that's a bright blood red. red nun, which is a buoy, which I didn't know, and she taught me that last night. Rose hip, which is kind of like a radish colored red, real pretty. Cadillac Mountain Sunset, for those of you that know Acadia National Park. Beautiful Cadillac Mountain, and the sunsets are spectacular from there. And mermaid tail. I might change it to mermaid scales. We'll see. So that is coming out. Another yarn set is coming out real soon. So that said, also be looking out later today and tomorrow for tomorrow night's event. It's not a money event. It's not a betting event. It's just for fun trivia night. So we're going to be looking at a series of rugs. Last time I did 50, it was just too much because I want to start winding it down at about an hour and a half. Otherwise, my voice goes and my energy goes, my sanity goes. But it's going to be the general trivia where we look at a series of hooked rugs, and using the subjects of the hooked rugs, I ask you general trivia questions. And it's just for fun. You get to see some rugs, look at some artists, you become aware of some new rug hooking websites that maybe you don't know about, some designers, and at the same time answer some trivia questions and have fun together. So that's tomorrow night. You'll be able to download later today and all day tomorrow the sheet just to look at. It's not something you really need to print if you want to just go back and forth on your computer to look at the rugs I'm talking about, but I'll also hold them up in the camera for you to ask you questions, trivia questions about those rugs. That's tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But in the meantime, let's come back to Tamara Pavich, because yeah, I'm just having such a love affair with her. Totally, totally fallen in love with her books. This one and this one, which we haven't approached yet. So we've got more on the horizon. But it was actually last Friday night that we were talking about inspiration. We started looking at her book. Remember the idea she gave about, you know, when something kind of sad or traumatic happens in your life, like the picture I used for this thumbnail. She remembered somebody growing up saying her hair looked like pipe cleaners. And then you make something, you know, looks quite sad, but you get it out of your system a little bit, and it's cathartic to do a rug or to do any work that addresses something in you that is a bad memory or a sad memory. But remember also what was it? He careth for you, a carrot for you. She had some funny, funny things at the beginning of this chapter. And we left off, I just want to say, in this book, it's many, many, many pages. Every page is a different idea. Like, for example, this is number 2 of this particular chapter. They're going to offer a set of dyed wool rather than yarn. You know, Donna, I can do that too. I'm going to do both. That's a really good. I was going to do the swatch sets, and I'm still going to do that. And you know, maybe I'll wrap that together. Do the swatch. Thank you, Donna. Maybe I'll do the swatch sets with. Maybe I'll make those the swatch colors for this month. I'm going to do that. Saves myself another batch of dyeing. I'm going to do that. We're going to start the swatch set monthly thing and the dye set monthly thing. So I'm going to work on that for sure in the next 48 hours. Definitely by the weekend I'll have this set. So I think I'll do that. I'll offer these colors too as the swatch set. And that perfect. Thank you, Donna. That just took one thing off my list. As easy as that. Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. But yeah, yarn and swatch sets. So look out for both of those good things. So every page in this book is literally a different design idea she's giving you. And if you have ever done writing, or you are a writer, or you enjoy writing, and you get these books for writers with prompts, that's basically what the whole book is. It's giving you prompts with great ideas and examples, saying, well, you know, if you want to be creative and you want to try something different, you want to work on some of your own designs, get some of your stories out of your memory museum and onto rug backing, maybe use these little tricks, use these prompts to help you pull your stories out and sort of put a shape to them so that you can approach creating a new design, particularly if you're someone who doesn't feel confident about your artistic skills. Because she makes a great point, and she makes a great case for saying you don't have to be an artist to make great rug designs. Those two things don't go hand in hand by any means. So every page is another little push to say, what about this thought? And this one, design number 2, is called The Little Whimsy. And she says, Puff the Magic Dragon lived by the sea. And she talks in this page about storytelling and the idea of a tall tale. And what's so great about it is she's saying, you know, your hooked rug design can be over the top. The subject can be over the top. It doesn't have to be literal. It's a piece of folk art, so certainly things don't have to be in perspective. It can be over the top, just like a tall tale, which is in writing a real exaggerated tale. And she said, I'm reading from her now. She says, did you fold 77 loads of laundry today? Do your tomato plants tower over the rooftops? Are you feeding a whole forest out there out? Are you feeding a whole forest out of three little bird feeders? Isn't that appropriate for what you were just talking about on the thread? Embellish a story in your whimsical rug design. And I just loved that paragraph because it just reminds you that sometimes, particularly when you're working in a folk art genre like rug making, when you push an idea or a joke or a point that you have in your rug, it makes me think of Joelle when we were doing our composition class, and she was talking about how the squirrel, she used the stencil of the squirrel, and she said she wanted to put it in the foreground so it was really big, and in the background put her house with her dog in the window, very small. And it becomes a joke at that point because you're reversing the size, you're reversing the importance, right? And the squirrel becomes sort of the hero of the piece, and the dog is just this little character in the distance who's barking his tail off to no avail. So doing those kinds of reversals and thinking about your story that you're trying to tell in your composition as a tall tale. Think of the funny parts and pick them up and inflate them. And it becomes you can find design motifs within working out, fluffing out your jokes. Even if it's just one or two aspects of the rug, it's a really good point to pivot on. And then she has this great chapter. We're going to certainly return to Tamara next week. But she has this great chapter. This is idea number 6. So I'm skipping many. Every one is wonderful. This one is called Anthropology Lesson. And I'm not going to go off on a bender, and I'm not going to get on a soapbox or anything like that. But this one really resonated with me, this chapter. And again, the chapter is basically the 2 pages, and you turn it, and there's a completely new idea on the next page, and it goes on through the whole book that way. So she uses a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote. She uses quotes in every page, which is, I think, very helpful. Emerson, though we travel the world over to find the beautiful, we must carry it with us or we find it not. In other words, if you don't keep it inside you, if you don't lock it up inside your memory museum, it's just lost and it might as well have never found it. So I think that's an important point. And the fact that he's using that in the context of travel is how it ties into her idea for an anthropology lesson. So in this chapter, she talks about whether or not you can afford to get on a plane. And of course, nowadays things are not even that black and white. There's more layers of everything preventing you from getting on a plane and traveling. But she talks about ancient architecture, Celtic designs, Hawaiian petroglyphs, Egyptian cave paintings, folk textile art. She talks about all kinds of things from around the world, not just American folk history, all folk history. And she shows some great examples of people who have used folk iconography to create original rugs. So this piece here is by Beth Zerwick Tembo from Bridgewater, Virginia, 2008. She did this beautiful round piece called African Bird. Let me show it to you, and then I'll tell you what she wrote. See the round African bird. Isn't that gorgeous? So stylized. And this is what she wrote about that. 16 inches round. I have long been attracted to the abstract and offbeat ways that animals, birds, fish, and reptiles are depicted in African decorative art. This is Beth talking, the artist. Typically, these figures are symbolic and stylized with some featured, exaggerated, or distorted to emphasize a characteristic. Again, tall tale aspect, right? When you emphasize or distort something on purpose. It's a good design device. Many of these traditional design elements go back centuries and yet so often seem so modern and avant-garde. Now, isn't that so true? When you think of what I just showed you or a cave painting, they seem very avant-garde. African Bird is my first rug design. I liked that the bird was simple yet had an active pose and interesting geometric patterns. Now, isn't that interesting? And doesn't that remind you of the artist we were looking at last week, Nancy Adele, who was the filmmaker from Canada, who her particular interest was that sort of stop motion moment in rug making where there was implied movement all around, but just the frozen frame and the sort of suspense and the way your imagination plays through the scenarios and the different parts of the rugs. I'm sure you remember because one of them was like a surgery scene, like a surgery theater. One of them was a bathtub with a fire under it. They were all very different. One of them was a religious cloister setting, but they were all very different. And it goes back to this point where you have something that you've drawn that has a lot of movement but is still. It creates a lot of interest, right? It's a great thing to achieve that. Most African art adorns functional items used every day in everyday life, like pottery, textile, leather goods, and baskets. So I decided to put him on something for practical use. He's a round chair pad. Animals and other wildlife are found abundantly in African art. The beauty and function of the art reveal how much the heart and spirit of those people are created. Who created it. So that was one example. And the other great example that she gives is by Pris Butler in Gainesville, Georgia, 2015, Africanus. And it's a number 8, so primitive on linen. And she said, when joining in a group challenge to hook a rug in the style of a tarot card, Pris designed this gorgeously detailed piece. Let me show this to you. So we all know the name Pris Butler because she is also herself iconic. But this was a challenge for a tarot card. And you can see there are a lot of African motifs in there. You see the shared sun and moon. The characters flip, obviously, to be the similar but more of a nighttime if you flip it upside down. Just really, really beautiful. And the point that I want to make with this anthropology lesson, and I know I often say things that are inflammatory, and I don't do it on purpose because I hope that I'm a good person. But this reminded me of something that somebody posted in, I'm not sure if it was my Facebook group or one of the other ones, but talking about Emily Carr, because we've talked about Emily Carr a lot, and she is a Canadian icon. And much of her life and her art revolved around the sort of native people of Canada. And she spent time living with them. She spent a lifetime thinking about them and working their design motifs and their art into her hooked rug and painting motifs. And unfortunately, somebody got blasted on Facebook for posting something about Emily Carr, because the idea was that Emily Carr, should be kind of criminalized at this point because she, what's the word? See, I'm tired enough that I can't think of it. When you sort of capitalize on another culture that you aren't officially a part of, although she's Canadian herself. I forget what the word is. It's always on the tip of my tongue, but I'm just burnt right now. But anyway, it made me really sad to read that this person got so much kickback and crazy talk and middle of the night kind of wind up stuff from this thread. Because, I mean, my feeling is that when you honor your own culture or another culture by showing that you love their art and trying to incorporate their art into your art, to me that is an absolute sign of respect, appreciation, gratefulness. So I like this chapter called Anthropology Lesson, because if we did not pull from other cultures and we only pulled from what was in front of us on the kitchen table, we would have a very limited scope and range. And I also have to add to that note, cultural appropriation, that's exactly it, Jennifer. I also have to add to that note that Emily Carr did not get rich doing hooked rugs of totem poles. If you remember from her biography, which we covered for a few days, she worked as a hotel keeper. I mean, she kept her house open as a hotel for years and years, and she certainly was not making any money. So that made me a bit sad. I would say absolutely, if you are interested in other cultures and the art of other cultures, you should certainly look at it for inspiration, because there's so much to be sort of gleaned and inspired by all over the world and over the course of many, many times. Pris is a teacher of yours, many times meaning time periods. April, I didn't know that. That's amazing. Oh, thanks, Chrissy. Thumbs up is good. Thank you so much. I will never remember, will I? So then she goes into other design ideas like stained glass. Now this is a category that if you're a quilter, you're super aware that a lot of people are interested in doing stained glass quilts using like black bias tape for where the leading or the soldering would be, but also very fun technique to do in rug hooking. And she gives some great examples of this too. Stained glass effect. These two are similar, two different lilies, but you can see how when you use mottled color in the background, light to dark, dark to light, very sort of hit or miss, not any particular pattern, it really gives you the effect of slag glass, which is the thick glass that you see in stained glass windows. And it has a lot of variation and texture. And you get that automatically when you drop those colors in between these black lines. You give yourself a great outline. And you know, there are a lot of these copyright-free books that Dover puts out with stained glass designs. This is a great place to go for inspiration. If you feel you don't have it in you to draw a stained glass design, but you would like to do something like this, you know, Dover has a ton of copyright-free books. And she also includes this one down here. Those two lilies were done by Trish Johnson in Toronto, Ontario, 2000. Lily rugs. And then this one down here is called Melancholie, like the French spelling IE, designed by Pearl McGowan. That's a bit unexpected to me because it looks like an Alphonse Mucha completely. But she says this was done by Val Flanagan in British Columbia 2010. I was assigned this pattern for my teaching accreditation, Val says. I was to teach stained glass. The biggest consideration was color. I chose to do it in a fairly traditional color scheme. Then I wanted to do another one using a completely different color scheme. At the same time, the movie Avatar was popular, so I chose to do a blue face. That's obviously not this one, but you can picture a stained glass face done in blue would be really different and really compelling, you know, very different. So she says she decided she chose colors based on the color wheel, complementary colors, and this was the result. And again, that looks like a Mucha to me, but that's a Pearl McGowan design. That is really, really lovely. And what makes it stained glass? It's that heavy outlining. You know, if you think about it, Van Gogh outlined almost everything he drew as a painter, and sometimes those lines would become more narrow when he filled in the color inside of it, but he worked in an outline first with borders on everything, and in a way that's the same thing as using a stained glass technique. But when you use that stained glass technique, it can go in two directions. It can go very graphic like a comic book, or it can go very artful, and I think the examples that Tamara used, very artful, very much like stained glass, and that's because she's using mottled wool. I'm that tired. If she had used very solid wool, it might look more graphic, like pop art, like Andy Warhol, like a comic book. But when you use the mottled wool, you get the impression of light and variation of thicknesses in the glass. So great technique to try the stained glass. And I am nowhere near done with Tamara Pavich, but we are done for our time on coffee time, so I'm going to get going. I'm finishing up that bingo game, and that will be available a little bit later today, and certainly tomorrow. We are going to have a great time at bingo. The rugs that I've chosen, I haven't seen any of them before myself. I found a few sites that I hardly ever go to. Beautiful original designs, people that you probably already know, but I found some designs I had just never seen, and there's going to be 40 tomorrow rugs to look at with multiple choice trivia questions. So just for funsies, just for something to do on a Friday night together, look at some rugs and kick up some conversation. It'll be a lot of fun. Again, it's not a betting night tomorrow night. That's our bingo night. So say a little prayer for me that I, number one, sleep, and number two, don't have a Bruegel scene at the dentist tomorrow morning, and that it's a good day, and that by the time we get to Friday night together, all my energy and joie de vie is back. So in the meantime, everybody have a great day. I'll be getting orders out. No, tomorrow, Mom, it's trivia night. Bingo, because we did bingo 2 weeks ago, so we're at trivia time already. So it's not something you buy cards for, it's just for fun. So we'll do that tomorrow night. Oh, Pickety Stitch. I'm sorry I didn't say good morning to you. Good morning. Glad to see you. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Take care of yourselves until tomorrow night. It's a long stretch. No coffee time tomorrow. 7 p.m. cocktail time instead, or whatever you drink in the evening for fun. I will see you then. Have a great day. I'm going to stay on for an extra minute so I don't get cut off. Bye.